Hi, I'm Jay, EscobarJ.com. This is a video that is near and dear to me. This is going to be self-development book recommendations. I've read all of these books countless times, probably in the hundreds of times, all of these books, between the lot of them. And I'm going to give you 5 different categories of books that I highly, highly recommend that you read and consume and just live your life around. And the 5 categories that I'll be covering are self-help, spirituality, success, money, and relationships. And first, I'm going to start with self-help, because typically, if you're looking for self-development book recommendations, you're probably in a stage in your life where things aren't going too well. Typically, people don't, when they're comfortable, when they're seeing success, when they're happy or supposedly happy, when they're doing well or just getting by, they tend to rest on their laurels, they get complacent, and they tend to not want to put in the effort to develop themselves into a better person and strive to be the best versions of themselves. That's what happened to me. It's what happens to a lot of people. Before what comes up must come down, so they say. And so when you're down, when you're in a place where it forces you to question your values and it forces you to question how you got there, why you got to that place, you start looking for answers. If you're a normal person, there are people who just wallow in their self-pity, or who just turn to other things to numb out the pain, or turn to drugs, turn to alcohol to just numb out the pain and just try and get by. But that's not a very healthy way to live. So that being said, let's go through these books. First, we have a book that is very close to me. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's by Manson. And by the way, I'm going to post links to these books into the description below, so make sure you check out the links. I've got Amazon links to where you can click on the links to the Amazon. You can go buy them right now. You can also get like audio versions if you have Audible. All of these books are on Audible, and you can listen to them, you can read them, you can even buy hard copies of the books too, and I got the links to those into the description, so check those out. Now, Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Manson is a fantastic book on self-development, and he talks about 5 new core values that you should adopt in order to live a fuller, richer, better life. And I won't ruin all of them, but I will give you the last one. The last one is very interesting because he says to adopt the value of contemplating one's own mortality. And basically what that means is that just being in check all the time, putting it into proper perspective, getting comfortable with death. And the example he gives in that book is going to a cliff edge sometime. Obviously, if you're alone by yourself, or if you want to go with somebody, you can. But go to a cliff edge and get as close as you can to the cliff edge. Sit down on the cliff edge and just look down and look at your death. That literally, if you were just to fall, if you were just to move forward 6 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, a foot, you would meet your death. And to get comfortable in that place. And I'm not condoning you go do that. However, it is a powerful experience, but there are other ways to contemplate one's own mortality. Meditation is another way that you can put things in a proper perspective. But that being said, the values in that book are very, very well done. He shares a lot of really cool stories about his own life in there, and it's a very, very good book. You should check it out. The next one is called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. This is a really popular one. David Goggins is a Navy SEAL, or was a Navy SEAL. And it basically details his life from childhood all the way up until going through BUDS training and even after BUDS training, and just the difficulty and really the philosophy of just embracing pain, like, and going outside your comfort zone and living at your edge and constantly pushing yourself. And the human body, he gives really, really great examples in there of how the human body, how much pain, how much suffering, and how much tolerance the body and the mind can take, and how resilient and relentless we are as human beings. We just know, people don't tend to push themselves very hard. And this guy is a savage. I mean, you hear some of the stories in that book and you hear some of his philosophies, and the guy is just straight savage is the only way to describe it. So I highly should recommend check that book out. The next one is called Extreme Ownership, another really popular one by Jocko, Willink, and Leif Babin. Another military book. It's excellent. It's much more masculine. It talks about leadership, talks about taking responsibility for every part of every transaction, every part of your life, every part of really everything. And when you do that, you can really grab the bull by the horns and really propel yourself into a forward direction by adopting a lot of the principles that the military and what Jocko and Leif, they're both Navy SEALs as well, learned in the military. I think they were in there for like 10, 15, 20, 30 years or something like that. I can't remember exactly how long, but the guys are badasses. They are, the stories they tell in there are insane. And just the way that they carry themselves out. And the cool thing is that they relate it to business. So they teach you what they learned from the military and how they applied it to businesses. And they do business coaching. And they share some stories of how taking extreme ownership in life and in business and in personal life and in every aspect of your life can really help you, move you, and you can really see really good success. And the last one, as far as self-help goes, and granted, all of these books have a level of self-help to them, but they are tailored in other areas. These ones are specifically for self-help. The last one is a book called Unfuck Yourself by Gary John Bishop. And it's another one similar to The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. He tells a lot of really good stories in there and talks a lot about, just pushing past adversity, looking at things differently when you're going through difficult times, and just adopting a mindset that's just don't give a shit mindset and go after what it is you want. It's a very, very good book. You should check it out. This one I've only listened to twice, so I haven't listened to this one as much as I've listened to The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, Can't Hurt Me, and Extreme Ownership, but it is still a very, very good book and will really help you in your personal life self-development if you're looking for answers. Now, the next category I'm going to go through is spirituality. And one book that I absolutely love, I've listened to countless times, is The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. And he has an audiobook called Secrets of the Power of Intention, which is also very, very excellent, and talks about how really just how to live a better life. And then, again, this goes into self-help as well, but he talks about a lot of spiritual aspects, meditation, prayer, being the best version of yourself, etc. And there's a lot of really cool concepts in there that he talks about. He's got some really good quotes in there as well. And one of the really famous quotes he has is, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And he even talks about them in like a molecular level, talking about Max Planck, who was a physicist way, way, way back decades and decades ago, who won a Nobel Prize for his work on atoms and matter. And he relates it to spirituality and how there's a underlying fundamental field or wave, which he calls intention, that controls everything, and how everything is influenced by this intention. And it's a very, 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 very good book. I absolutely love the book. Love the guy. The next one is called The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. I love this book as well. One of my favorite quotes is from that book. It's a pack of lions led by a sheep, a pack of sheep led by a lion will always defeat a pack of lions led by a sheep. It's an absolutely great quote. I got that from that Traveler's Gift book, and it's a parable. So it talks about it's kind of like if you know the play Scrooge, you know, like the Christmas play Scrooge, it's kind of like that, kind of play on that, except this guy, he goes through and meets a bunch of really famous people like Abraham Lincoln. He meets King Solomon. He meets Anne Frank, and he goes to them in these like kind of like dreams, and he talks to them specifically and learns a lot from them. It's really, really, really good travel, really powerful book. Highly recommend it. Kind of goes more into a little bit more into like spirituality a little bit. The next one is The Go Giver, and this one's all about giving and service and shifting your mindset from having it be a dog eat dog world and thinking in terms of scarcity and switching your mindset to thinking in terms of abundance and how you can give and how you can serve and how you can help others. It's actually a pretty short book. You know, the audiobook I think is only like 3 hours long. I've listened to this tens of times. Very, very, very good book, and highly, highly recommend it, especially for business too. The next category is success. And there's 2 books that I highly recommend for success. And, you know, obviously there's a few books with money in the next category that also tie into success. But these 2 books mainly are about success. And the first one is called The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Just basically how to 10X your life in every area. Talks about taking massive action in every area of your life and not leaving anything to chance, not leaving anything to take. It's kind of like taking responsibility for everything, but he really more focuses more on like taking huge like amounts of action and working, you know, 100-hour weeks type deal, but in a way that doesn't make it feel like it's 100-hour weeks. I mean, obviously you're working hard, but he talks about working hard in the areas that you want to be working hard in, things that are really going to contribute to your overall well-being in the long term. And he gives an analogy in there of like, you know, he talks about like going the parable of the tortoise and the hare, right? Where the tortoise wins because, you know, slow and steady wins the race. Whereas the hare, he goes really, really fast, but he gets burned out really quickly. And Grant Cardone, the whole premise of the 10X rule is adopting the mentality of having the speed and swiftness and quickness of the hare, but also the consistency and the steadfastness and relentlessness of the tortoise, and combining both of those to have both of them. And he says, if you could really adopt that, you will blast into the marketplace, and you will, you know, your personal life as well, if you adopt those principles. The next one is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. This one is more focusing on what I just barely talked about, the tortoise and the hare, but the tortoise, it's really more based on consistency over a long period of time and doing a bunch of small tasks every single day consistently over the course of time, and eventually you will hit your goals. And this one, I love this one because this book, I've read it, I can't tell you how many times I've read this book, listened to it, and it's Darren Hardy. He does a great job. He's funny. He's got some humor in there. He tells really good stories. If you don't know, he's the CEO of Success Magazine. He kind of tells a story of how that came about, tells some stories about his dad and how he grew up, and how he came to write The Compound Effect and how he adopted it. He talks a lot about a lot of his mentors. He was mentored by Jim Rohn a lot. I think he met Jim Rohn maybe once, but he actually, you know, he just listened to a lot of Jim Rohn's material. And but it's a very, very good book. Just teaches you the power of compounding over time and sticking and committing to something over the course of time, because most people, they start something and then they just quit once, you know, adversity hits. And he talks about just breaking it down, breaking the big goals down into small daily bite-sized chunks, and to do those goals every day relentlessly, to, you know, never quit on those things. The next category is money. And the next book is Rich Dad's Cashflow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. Excellent books. Talks a lot about investing, how to invest in real estate and stocks. Talks a lot about money, how to manage money. And it does actually go into a bit of like self-help and then also success as well. There's a lot of really, really great concepts. He talks about the cash flow quadrant. If you don't know what it is, basically there's 4 quadrants where most people reside as far as work and far as making money goes. There's employees, there's self-employed, there's big business, and then there's investor. And depending on where you're at, you can be in multiple quadrants at the same time, but most people he talks about are how they have a herd mentality, and that they're in the employee category where they work for corporate America or they work for somebody else, making somebody else's dream a reality. And then he also talks about the ups and downs of that, the ups and downs of being self-employed, and how you can move over into the employee, over into, self-employment or big business. And, basically how you can switch, how you can maneuver over into the right side of the cash flow quadrant, which is big business, having 500 or more employees, and or the investment quadrant. So it talks a lot about investing. The next book is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by Harv Eker. This is a very, very, very good book. Especially it teaches you how to manage money, teaches you the concepts of money, teaches you how to have an abundance mindset, and the concept of a little bit more of the compound effect in there as well. He talks about, a formula in there, which is, E leads to, what is it? So your programming leads to your thoughts leads to your feelings lead to your actions, and your actions equal your results. That's the formula. And so basically he talks about how to change your programming to earn higher levels of income. And then also at the same time, he teaches you how to manage your money in a way to where you can minimize costs and save for the future, save for retirement, save for investing, save for have an account to play, and have an account where you can blow money and have fun with it. And it does a really good job at teaching you the fundamentals of how to manage your money, but also what money is. He kind of goes into like the energy of money and having an abundance mindset and your mentality. It's a very, very good book. The next one is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. This is a short book, but it's very, very powerful. It was made back in like the 30s, I think. So it's quite an old book, but it's a lot of very fundamental wisdom about money and how to get rich, and some principles that you should adopt in order to have money and have the attainment of money. The next one is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now this one I could have included in spirituality as well, Think and Grow Rich, because really it's called the Think and Grow Rich, but really the premise behind the book is it's not necessarily, I mean, it does talk about money and how you can attract money and abundance and wealth into your life, but really he goes very, very deep into like how it's a very spiritual thing. It's if you close yourself off, and if you control your thoughts, and if your thoughts are the things that your thoughts are things, and the thoughts that you have can literally create your reality and it goes very, very deep into the like sex transmutation and just very, very deep concepts of how to manifest money into your life, and how to manifest abundance into your life, not just money, but abundance in all categories of life. It's a timeless classic book. If you haven't read it, you need to read it. It's one of those books that's going to be around forever. The next one is The Richest Man in Babylon. This is another book that teaches you the fundamentals of money, how to manage your money. There's some principles, a lot of parables that are in this book. So this book has a lot of parables, which are just like short stories, little stories of things that you learn, like one principle at a time, that will help you to manage your money better and to really have the abundance mindset and what to do with your money and who to lend it to, etc. Very, very good book. It's an old classic as well. If you haven't, it's by George S. Clason. Oh, and by the way, Think and Grow Rich is by Napoleon Hill. I think I forgot to mention that. George Clason, Richest Man in Babylon, excellent book. And it's kind of based more in the like Solomon era, like the kings and like the Middle Eastern type of setting. Very, very good book though. Then the last category that I have for you for self-development book recommendations is relationships. And one of my all-time favorite books, in fact, this might be my all-time favorite book, is How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne. And I've listened to this book just about 30 times now. And I have, digested a lot of his videos and his material online, hundreds of his videos, probably close to at least 1,000 of his videos, and a lot of his concepts. And he's a very, very knowledgeable person on self-help, self-development, self-reliance, but more tailored towards men. How to take control of your masculinity, how to be a man, how to really embrace your inner masculine and use that to your advantage to attract the type of woman that you've always dreamed of in your life. And he talks a lot about his stories and how he learned this stuff, and how to attract women, how to talk to women, how to have good relationships, how to have good communication. It's a very, very good book. But it is tailored towards men and the masculine role. However, it does really give a good perspective to a woman as to what to look for in a man, or why she's attracted to certain men, or why she blows off other men, why she's not attracted to certain men, and why she is attracted to other men. It does a really, really good. He does a really good job explaining the kind of the psychology. He's not a psychologist or doctor or anything like that, but he does a really good job, breaking down how it works and connecting the dots for you. The next one is a little bit more of a spiritual book, but also in the way of relationships. It's called The Way of the Superior Man by Deida. Excellent book. It talks a lot about similar things as Corey Wayne. Corey Wayne's is a little more modern though. David Deida's book was done, I think, in like the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, but it's a very, very good book. It talks a lot about embracing your masculinity, how to be a man, how to go about your purpose and find your purpose, how to find your mission, go after your goals, and use that to attract the type of person you want into your life as well. Next one is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus by John Gray. And this book is a great book on how to communicate if you're already in a relationship, and if you're specifically if you're in like a longer term marriage, if you're having troubles, or if you're in a complacent phase in your marriage. It does a great job at detailing specifically how to talk to your woman or how to talk to your man, and in a calm way where you don't argue and you can understand why the other person thinks the way they do. He talks a lot about the feminine, how femininity is, what the purpose of it is, and how women open up to receive love and to receive communication, and how they think about things. And it also details how men think about how men interpret and think about things, and when communicating certain ways, how men can interpret things in one way when a woman really means it in a different way, and vice versa as well. So it's a very good book. It talks a lot about communication. And the last one is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And this one's more on creating friendships, how to be a genuine person, giving compliments, how to, start to smile more often. I just finished listening to this one actually last night. And it's a very, very good book. A lot of really timeless knowledge in there from way back in the day. It was created, I think, in like the 50s, 60s, or 70s, or 80s, or something like that, by Dale Carnegie. And there's two more books that I would recommend for relationships. One is The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. It's a short book, like 100 pages. And this one details specifically what your love language is and what your partner's love language is, so you can better understand how they feel, how they think, and where they come from, and how to show them that you love them in the most efficient way for them. And there's 5 categories. And the last book that I'd recommend is called The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi. And this book is very similar to The Way of the Superior Man and How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne and David Deida. This book, it's a lot more edgy. It's a lot more, a little more radical, but it's very logical, very, very, very logical. It's for men. I would say it's for men. And if you really want to kind of blow your mind as to women, and he talks a lot about a word called hypergamy, which is basically the idea that women will always seek the highest status a member of the opposite sex or a member that they're attracted to, because it's ingrained into their subconscious and ingrained into the reptilian part of their brain. And in the kind of the security aspect, and that's why a lot of women will seek security. And it applies to, he applies it to like all women. Obviously, all women are not like that. However, he does have a lot of really good points as to how to deal with women, how to talk to women, how to embrace your masculinity side, things, what to do, what not to do. It's a relationship book. It is geared towards men. So if you are a man, I do recommend that one as well. It's a very logical book. So it breaks things down very logically, step by step, in order, why women do what they do, why men will do what they do as well. And also another word he uses is solipsism, which is the idea that, like, if way back in the day, you know, when there were armies who conquered other armies, or villages who conquered other villages, a lot of times the men would be all killed off, but a lot of times the winning army, or the winning king, or the winning would adopt the women of the tribe or village or city, and they would, and women are hardwired to kind of adapt to that new environment, to adapt to the new masculine man, even if the woman was married to a man before, had kids or whatever. The idea of solipsism is how women have this innate ability to adapt to their environment, as far as adapting to a new man, or adapting to the new masculine or highest status type of deal. It's very edgy. It's kind of radical, but there are a lot of very, very good concepts in there. It's a very good relationship book as well. So that is my list of self-development books. I highly recommend all of these books. I have read them countless times. Some of these books I've read close to 50 times, maybe even 100 times, some of them. And they've really helped me in my own life, with relationships, with money, with, you know, spirituality, just growth in general, self-help. So I'm positive they will help you as well. And I will link to all these books down in the description. Again, like I said, I will post links to the Amazon links to all of these books. If you'd like to purchase them, you can purchase them through the link down in the description. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon so you never miss any time I release a new video. And if you'd like to get my help in this topic, or if you'd like to maybe add to this list of books, or if you'd like to get my help with anything, you can visit my website and book a coaching session at escobarj.com. Other than that, you do me a favor and share this book of recommendations with your friends and family on any social media platform. Maybe you know somebody who could use one of these books. I guarantee you do. And that is my purpose, is to help as many people self-develop, improve, become the best versions of themselves. And these books have really helped me in my own life, and I know that they will help you. That being said, I hope you're always learning, always growing, and always pushing forward. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.